Hello, everybody. I'm Rick DiClemente, and this is Astrology Unplugged. Welcome. Tonight's going to be an astrology night. As you know, I do about three. The cats are fighting. As you know, I do about three astrologies, and then I do one guest, sort of like that, because it's really hard to keep thinking of astrology ideas all the time, because this is not a class from A to Z. Anyhow, tonight is a very special evening because I've been alerted to the fact by talking to so many people that a whole lot of planets are going to bunch up together in the sign of Capricorn. Now this is for everybody, so it's not just Capricorns. So if you'll take a look here, I'll get this on the screen. It takes me a while to get my self in gear. Okay, this is a chart from March, next spring. This is a chart of next spring. I want you to understand, how do I explain this? When you're listening to magazines and you're listening to daily horoscopes and you're listening to that whole entire world, which is responsible for keeping astrology alive, it's very misleading because they deal with very fast-moving planets, because that's the only way Cosmopolitan can give you the difference between February and March. Venus and Mars, quick-moving planets. I deal with very slow-moving tectonic planets, which are the ages. These are the big issues in people's lives. So, we're not talking tonight about your chart or my chart. Everybody's chart is individualistic. It has its own rising sign. It has its own planets and stuff. But in general, for the whole planet, Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008. Eris has been in Aries since 1912. It's going to be in Aries for 120 years, and we didn't know about it. It was sneaking around, being sleepy and sleepy for thousands of years, probably billions of years in the planet Eris. And all of a sudden, in the last 10, 15 years, we've become very attuned to it. And this is why the revolution's going on, because of what Pluto and Eris are doing. This is all about Pluto and Eris. It's about Pluto and Eris. And they happened on the stage and happened to be right at the right angle to each other, and neither one of them moves much. This is what's caused this craziness the past 5-6 years, and it's not you. It is crazy, and it's the way that Pluto combines with Eris, and they're both very similar, and they're both upheavals, and they're both about radical change. And Eris is about the feminine, and Eris is about the unheard that wants to be heard. And Eris is lawless. We've talked a lot about Eris. So during the next several years, we're looking at about the next 2-3 years of tonight's talk. In general, how are you going to deal with the next 2-3 years? Mars is going to come and move quickly. Venus will come and move quickly. But Jupiter is going to be in one sign, Saturn in one sign, Neptune, etc. For tonight's reading, I've removed Neptune because it's subtle and it's quietly out of the way when comparing to the outer planets. We're dealing with Eris and Pluto. We're dealing with Uranus. We're dealing with Saturn. We're dealing with Jupiter. And we're dealing with Chiron. That's a lot. So I'm going to show you where these planets are and where they're going to be in relationship to you. And when I deal with a Taurus, we put on the first house, we put 0 Taurus. We shift the whole zodiac. We look at it that way. We're doing what's called whole sign astrology. We're the first sign. When you have whole sign astrology and you're dealing with a Taurus, the first house is 0 to 30 degrees of Taurus. When you're dealing with a Capricorn, the first house is from 0 to 30 degrees of Capricorn. The whole zodiac moves. This is how astrologers do their predictions. They place the planets in those signs. Now let me show you what I mean. Let's get started. All right. This is This is for Aries. You notice on the first house, which is always right here, everybody's chart for always, forever and ever and ever, at 9 o'clock is the ascendant. This is the beginning of the first house, from here to here. This is the first house. So for Aries people, Chiron has just moved into Aries recently. It'll be there several years. Aries has been there since 1921. We didn't know about Aries till 15 years ago. So we've only known about Aries just in this little area. And it's been all throughout for thousands of years. We didn't know about it because we weren't ready. We didn't know about it because we weren't ready to deal with the Arisian part of our mind. The Arisian part, come on now, calm down. Hey, you guys are acting like a bunch of cats. So you can see Pluto has gone into Capricorn since 08. It's going to be from 08 to 2023. Jupiter's here now. Jupiter will be up here conjuncting Pluto. Jupiter will be up here conjuncting Saturn. Saturn has been here for about a year and a half. Saturn is in this area. So you see, this is this is a map of next spring. Notice Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, all within 7 degrees. So without a doubt, the heavy emphasis in everybody's chart will be in the sign of Capricorn. This is why you've seen so much go on in the past several years with institutions, Capricornian things, structures, governments, things that you count on, things that rule you, things that you rule. This is why you've seen so much tumult in that area. Meanwhile, Aries is going to be here for another, let's see, 30 years. Aries is staying here. Chiron's going to come up, catch up with it, and Uranus has just gone into a new sign of Taurus. So I'm going to start with a sign of Aries, and any sign you analyze, you put it on the first house. You put it in this area. This is 0 through 30 of Aries. So you see, for all Aries people, the next several years will be great big focus on the Capricorn planets in the 10th house. This is the 10th house. 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So for all people that are Aries, they're going to have a lot of emphasis on getting off your butt and making your mark in the world. The 10th house is the career house. It's your calling. Get off your butt, make your move, make your mark. Now, when you hear these words, you've got to compare it to what sign is going on. Getting off your butt and making your mark is not a strange theme for Aries. Aries like to get off their butt and get moving, and they don't have any problem making their mark in the world. So they're not going to have much issue with it, and this is a very serious time for them to really stick their best foot forward. But at the same time, what's happening with Aries, there's a great big personal revolution going on in the first house with Chiron and with Aries. Well, you don't have to tell Aries people about a revolution. They are the revolution. They're the one that starts the whole zodiac. And they got Uranus in their second house. So they may be working on finding unusual ways to make money. They might be working on making money through the internet, etc. But I see this whole issue for Aries people being a non-event. It's not going to be that big a deal because they're already aggressive. They already know what they want. They take care of themselves. They worry about number one in general. So remember, I'm not talking about every Aries you know. I'm talking about the sign of Aries generally. So we don't see much difficulty here. One of the things about Aries that I've noticed since writing that book is Aries can't stand people in their way. They're not anti-people. They're not rude people. They're really nice people. They're very comfortable and fun. But they just want to get out of my way. They just don't like complications. Notice how many people running for president have a lot of Aries in their charts. Okay? Because they're the pioneers. They want to make things happen. Now, just like the rest of the zodiac, as I go through the zodiac, you'll be able to look back at Aries and understand it better. Because Aries is so simple. It's so basic. It's so non-complicated that when you get into the complex signs like Scorpio and Capricorn, you'll look back and you'll understand Aries better. So let's move on to the sign of Taurus. If you know any Taurus people in your life, I'll show you how we do that. So we merely, using Solar Fire software, we go to a different wheel where Taurus is now rising. Okay, so now you see with Taurus rising, this is the first 30 degrees of Taurus. And for all Tauruses on the planet, which is 8.5% of everybody out there, 8.5% times 7 billion, you Taurians are going to have 3 planets in your 9th house. You're going to have a heavy 12th house, and you're going to have this revolution going on in your 1st house. Okay, now, one thing you don't know about Taurus, I found out through research here, the Middle East is very Taurian. And what I mean by that, people that are Taurian, the basis of their religions, the basis of their philosophies is to obey. Many leaders have been Tauruses who have been dictators. Taurus wants to obey something, and what that means in our terms is ruled by the earth. It's very earthy, it's very grounded. It wants to rule according to a very fixed type of measuring stick. Well, hello, Uranus is now in Taurus. So you guys got shocking work for the next 6 years as Uranus goes through Taurus, this shocking awakening. And Uranus doesn't do well with the sign of Taurus. Taurus is about being planted. Uranus is about being unplanted and changing. So at the same time, you got all this stuff going on in your 9th house. So what's happening with Taurus is this. You're going to continue for a long time working in your 9th house, which means more reading, more experimenting, more religious comparison, more philosophical testing, because Taurus has a tendency to look for an answer and think that it's a solid, never-changing answer. But there's no such thing. Taurus is always looking for the non-changing, the eternal thing that's fixed. Well, that's an illusion, because nothing's fixed. But nevertheless, the mainstay for Tauruses during the next at least 3 years is going to be continuing to do heavy work. I see the big bulldozers coming in and the backhoes coming in. There's a lot of work going in your house of philosophy, okay? And what's interesting about that, your 1st house is being dug up with Uranus in the 1st house. So that's all about, I want to be myself. So here's the issue with Tauruses. All right? It's really hard to work with all these tablets moving around. Everybody, do what you can to stabilize your tablet. It's really, thank you. All right. Now, do you see what's happening, Deborah? You got all this philosophical change happening. You're not going to get it all right at first. You keep working at it, keep studying it, and it's in Capricorn. So when it's in Capricorn, the old philosophies are going to draw your attention. You're going to give a lot of attention to the Upanishads, to India's old-time Bhagavad Gita theories, stories. There's a lot of respect when Capricorn's around, a lot of respect for the old, because it's what got us here. It's an earth sign just like Taurus. So at the same time that you're updating your religion and your philosophy, you're going to keep working on the Uranus in the 1st. And Uranus in the 1st is very simple. It ain't easy to do, but it's very simple. Are you able to be yourself? I had a client today, and she's not able to be herself. She wants to. She understands it. She understands why not. But this part in her keeps going, This part in her wants out. The real her wants out. And when Uranus comes, that's when people say, I'm beside myself. I'm coming around my own skin. They actually tell you those words. That's exactly what Uranus does. So you're going to want to be yourself. So don't fall for the temptation. Here's the secret. Don't let your findings in the philosophical arena become a new hirsute. Don't let your findings become a new straitjacket. Don't replace your old limitations with new ones. Translate things, even though you're looking at the old. Throw out the old junk, the old stuff. You're a sinner. He died for you, all this stuff. You've got to suffer. You've got to repent. All this evangelistic crap, which has been killing us. Replace it with what's true. And what's true is really coming on. It's the truth of you're born beautiful, you're born without sin, you're born to love, you're born to include, and take that new theory and modernize what you keep what you can from the old, but modernize it and filter it all through me becoming more able to be myself. Now, one of the troubles with Uranus in the first house is we can't stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. We can't talk about what everybody else is doing. This has got to do with you. This is about you, all of us. This is about what do I have to do? What do you have to do to liberate yourself? I'm not talking about being rude. I'm just talking about if you are able to be yourself and people like it, those are people you should keep near you. But if you're not able to be yourself in your own mind because of somebody else, well, then you got a problem. Okay? So your world is very simple in the next several years. Keep updating the philosophy, take the old courses, study the Upanishads, study Sanskrit, study Reiki, or whatever you want to mix it up. This is heavy-duty religious study, heavy-duty. Won't last for quite a while. Study it, but extract the truth out and filter it all through me becoming a freer person. Because as you become freer, we all become freer. All these studies, that's what they come down to. They all come down to, let me calm down as smooth as I can and let me be more of myself. And 95% of your problems is imagined that someone's not going to like it. What's somebody going to say? What's somebody going to do? And what that really means is they're not able to be themselves. Let them worry about themselves. This makes sense to you? I think it makes good sense. Let's move on to Gemini. You'll start to see the commonality and yet the differences. Okay, here's the Gemini. Let me get the right screen up here. You'll start to see how the zodiac keeps turning. All right. Now we notice with the Gemini, here's Gemini on the first house. So all the Capricorn stuff moves into their 8th house. The Aries stuff goes up into the 11th, and the Uranus is in the 12th. So all we're doing is moving everything. And what we're doing here, you see that diamond on that book? We picked that diamond for a reason. When you look at the zodiac, guess I told those cats. Yeah, right. When you look through one facet of the diamond, it's like holographic. The whole world looks different, but yet it's the whole diamond. Then you shift to the next facet. So that diamond is to represent the 12 distinct signs of the zodiac. So now we're not looking at Taurus. We're not looking through the eyeball of Aries. We're looking through the eyeball of Gemini. Now, this is a little bit odd, but Geminis have a lot of stuff going on in the 8th house, the 8th house in Capricorn. This is a very strange house for Geminis. Geminis are not 8th house-like. Geminis are not Capricorn-like. So they're being, Geminis are not, they're not comfortable working with 8th house issues and Capricorn issues. But this is what's going on. 8th house issues are what Trump just got introduced yesterday. Hi, the IRS is not going away. Hello. So I predicted it 6 months ago yesterday. It ain't going away. The 8th house is the thick house of relationships, where emotions are utmost importance and dedication to each other. Well, Gemini is not like that. Our president is a Gemini, but the sign of Gemini is not like that. Gemini is fun-loving, happy-go-lucky, Lenny Bud type energy, okay? It's a fun backslap and let's go play, let's go have fun. But even these people have an 8th house, and with the Capricorn in the 8th house, they're not going to get out of this, and some of them are going through some rather heavy times. This means that the 8th house is about, I've got to find higher value in life by merging with somebody else. I've got this urge to merge with somebody and find higher value. Okay, that's what it's about. Geminis are really good at skipping the subject, changing the subject. We got about 600 of them running for president. Lots of Gemini energy. But other signs are built for it. They're made for that kind of study. For Gemini, this is not easy because the 8th house is uncomfortable. Nevertheless, Geminis are going to have to stop and get to that busybody mind that they have, and they're going to have to start going deeper into their soul, deeper feelings, deeper ideas that are not changing. Geminis love everything changing. Gemini is the picture of the juggler at the circus, just a juggle, and the balls are always changing. That's traditional Gemini. Well, not now. And they're going to succeed in direct relationship to how much they pay attention to their 8th house matters. And 8th house is, boy, this relationship you and I have is deep and it's valuable, or you try to run from it. Good luck. I'm going to tell you a secret right now, and I've told you on videos in the past, I've told you in a class on the past, and you can look all you want at these people running for president. You can watch Putin and all they're doing. You can watch what's going on in Trump's chart and all that. What's going on now is Trump's Venus-Saturn is exploding. Trump's Venus-Saturn is exploding. And what that means is Venus-Saturn in Cancer. What that means is, since this chart represents everybody in the country, and it represents all the people on the earth, he's the leader of the earth. Venus-Saturn is getting smashed. I know you're holding your head, Linda. I don't blame you. What it means is, are you going to open your heart and let love in or not? That's the question that's going on now. This ain't about Korea. This ain't about China. It ain't about Britain. It ain't about the yellow duck in the sky. The yellow Trump in the sky. It's about Venus-Saturn opening up. Venus-Saturn is, I'm going to stay protected, and if I stay protected, I'll be all right. And that's a lie. Well, Pluto's hitting, and Pluto wants it open. So what's hitting Trump's chart is hitting all of us. That's the story of what's going on with everybody now. We're being challenged to open our heart, and if you open it, the world will assist you to keep opening it, and if you try to keep it closed, you're going to get bombarded. That's what's going on. I'll talk much more about this. This is the main theme I have married myself to in the last several years. Look around you. Okay, meanwhile, back at the Geminis have a very active 11th house. They're going to love this. This is me and you hanging out. Hey, let's go get some friends. Let's go do this. Let's go on a trip. Hey, let's get into club activities. Let's have fun. Meanwhile, Uranus is down there in the 12th house, stirring up their unconscious mind. They're not even going to notice this. Your unconscious mind being stirred up. So what's going to happen with Gemini? They're going to try to replace all of this heavy-duty stuff with the fun stuff here. They're going to try to replace all the demands of their deeper self with fun activities. Let's go bowling. Okay? You can't do it. You need to blend. You got to keep everybody happy. Did you notice there's no sun on here? There's no sun, there's no moon. We're just dealing with the outer planets. Let me move on. Now it's getting really juicy. Let's go to Cancers. All right, there's the Cancers. See, it's shift again. Now, since Cancer is in the 1st house, all the heavy stuff shifts to the 7th house. House of relationships. All the Aries stuff shifts to the 10th house. Well, I've got to tell you something. This is not a happy time for Cancer. This is not a happy time for the sign of Cancer. But you can make it victorious. You can make it work because Cancer people are not just Cancers. You are not just your sun sign. Why is it not a happy time? Well, Cancer's strength is definitely not in the 7th house. The 7th house is me plus you at partnership. It's a Libra house. Me plus you is partnership. Cancer's not made for partnership. Cancer's made for the security of the family. The security of the family envelops me and protects me. 10th house, all the Aries stuff you saw up in the 10th house. They're not made for the 10th house either. That's opposite the 4th, which is the Cancer house. So the 10th house saying, get out of here, get to work, come out, go to work and shine, start showing people what you can do. 7th house is get along with people and start mixing it up with others. And Cancers are being given everything but what they want. What they want to go home and be safe and shut the door. They want to go home and be safe and shut the door. The Hobbit shuts his big round door, slam. He's got his little fireplace and he's got the smoke going up, right? He's got his tea, he's got his furry little feet. That's a Cancer house. The Cancers are being given the opposite now. And what this means is sometimes when life gives you the Cancerian stuff, it will help you. At other times, it won't. Now, you can't stop your natural instinct. And your natural instinct is to, secure yourself amidst your friends and secure yourself amidst close, warm buddies and all that. I mean, that's Cancer's beauty and their strength. But right now, Cancer is expecting you from inside. The evolutionary part inside from the collective is inspiring you to get out in the world and make your mark and to have relationships while you're doing it. And I'll tell you what, no matter what you do, you're not going to stop these 2 major houses that are activated. Make sense, Elke? Okay. And Elke's smart, and she's broad-minded, and she's been around the zodiac every which way, so she can understand how to move it and stuff. But Elke, I can guarantee you, Elke knows that as she satisfies and conquers the 7th house part of herself, it's going to enhance the Cancer part. And as she conquers and satisfies the 10th house business part, it's going to conquer and strengthen her 4th house domicile. Because as you strengthen your ability to relate to people, you strengthen your ability to be yourself. And as you strengthen your ability to go out in the world and survive, you strengthen your ability to come back home and be at rest and shut the door and be secure. The ones who won't be secure, the ones that want to run home, shut the door, and please don't bother me, that ain't going to happen because the big bad wolf's out there scratching and howling, making noise. And that's just the way it goes. Okay? So that's why it's tough. It's a challenge, but Cancer is a lot tougher than people think. A lot tougher. You back them in a corner and watch out. They got big claws and they can be tenacious. So it's very important for the next several years that Cancer take a deep breath and understand what they're dealing with here. Why is the 7th house being activated? Because no matter how well you hide under that rock, no matter how well you buffer yourself with family, you're not going to get stronger until you can relate with other people. You're just not. How you relate to others is how you relate to yourself. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So that's why you're going through this trial. It's going to definitely whip you into shape and you're going to be a lot stronger. And since the United States is a Cancer, well, look at what's happening to us. We're being forced to check our ability to relate to other countries. We can't just keep doing the same old, same old. It's not working anymore. They're starting to go like this, saying, forget America and our place in the world. Well, Trump says we're going to be number one. Well, the rest of the world says, what the hell you been? You've been number one all this time. So you see those areas need readjustment when there's activity in the houses. So far, it's been very positive for you. Well, Melky, that's not because the planets have been helpful. That's because you've been using them correctly. And you can thank yourself for doing all your studying. Let's move on to the next sign. Okay, and the sign of Leo. When we look at the Leos, now what did you notice? Uranus is now high in the chart. Here's Leo, right? This is a secret to doing predictions. You put the sign you're analyzing in the first house. All this stuff goes into the 6th. So this is the Virgo house with these planets in Capricorn. So it's all this hard work getting yourself ready for a new position in the world. And Uranus is up there carving a new trail saying, hey, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. And Leos don't have any trouble going out in the world and shining a light on themselves and everybody else. They don't have any trouble with it. And the 9th house is being very activated by all this Aries stuff. So what this means, Leo people are having very strong adventures with their mind, with their philosophies, with college experiences, with working overseas, with traveling overseas, expanding their horizons and learning. While they're doing that, that just accentuates and helps them take a new position in the world. With Uranus up here, me being able to be myself out in the world. I don't have to be phony. I can be myself. When it's all sustained and being backed up by all this hard work in the Virgo house, developing new skills, getting an MBA, going back to college, doing my work, being an apprentice. So you see these same forces are hitting everybody, and this is why people don't understand astrology. They don't understand one sign's different than another, or they don't understand the mechanistics of one dial turning inside of another dial. Well, it's no wonder it's so confusing. So we see here, life doesn't look too tough for the Leos. Life doesn't look too tough for Aries. Life looks a little challenging to the Tauruses. Life looks real challenging to the Geminis. That's what we've discovered. I didn't know this. I didn't prepare this. I didn't get into this till tonight. So, the Geminis are being tested because they're going to have to go deep into territories they're not used to being in. Cancers are being tested because, in a way, they're not being allowed to go home for a while. Doesn't it excite you to know that we're going to go to Libra? I'm sorry. We're going to go to Virgo next. Woo! Doesn't that excite you, Karen? Huh? Make your eyeglasses go like that? We're going into Virgo next. What did you say, Miss Jordan?
I just said Virgo.
Okay, we're going to go to Virgo now. Let's go take a look. Okay. Now with the Virgo, to put Virgo here, we have to shift the wheel style to the Virgo wheel style and select it. Now, look what happened now. Here's the Virgo. All this stuff has gone into this horrible 5th house, which is a horrible place for Virgos. Aries has gone into their 8th house, so they can handle that. And Uranus has gone into their 9th house. All 6 of these planets are strange bedfellows to the sign of Virgo. This is very bizarre, strange bedfellows. Why? This house is all about expressing yourself. Virgos don't want to hear you express yourself. Virgos don't want to express themselves. They want their work. They want the sheen on that table they just built with 17 coats of polyurethane. They want that sheen to impress you, the beauty of their work. Well, there's nobody that compete with them, which is why you need to vote for Bernie. And what's the vice president's name? What's his sign? He's a Scorpio. Ooh, he announced today he's a Scorpio. He's got a nice chart. So Virgo people are being urged to express themselves. And you see, here's the problem with Virgo. Virgos, I ran into this today with a client. Virgos think that if you're expressing yourself, that you're being a goofball. Virgo has so much respect for the quiet worker that minds his own business and doesn't talk about other workers and keeps on sawing that board till it's perfectly straight and they end up and the work is perfect, and you find these Virgos at work never talking about other workers, ever. They're excellent at it. Most of them are company people. But they're embarrassed. They just came through the sign of Leo. They just experienced Leo, and now the Virgo pops out. This is the main story in the exquisite zodiac, how one sign evolves into the next. Well, one of the things that Virgos feel is, boy, I showed off and had that lampshade on my head too much at a time when I was back in Leo. And Virgo overreacts because they come up with a new law, thou shalt not have any lampshade on thine head ever. Well, you need it on your head sometime. You need to be goofy. You need to have fun. You need to laugh. You need to laugh and have fun and express yourself. And the Virgos you see in celebrity land are Virgos that are very popular, but they have all kind of stuff, like Lily Tomlin. They have all kind of stuff in their chart that's non-Virgoan that allows them to do this. So with their 5th house being emphasized, what the charts are saying to them is, you've got to become complete inside. All 12 worlds inside of yourself need to become harmonized. And one of those worlds in you is the part where you express yourself. There's nothing wrong with expressing yourself. Now, here's the problem with Virgo. If you express yourself, you won't let anybody else express themselves. If you express yourself like Mr. Trump, and he's the best, and he's got the best words, and he's got the best people, and he's always best at every damn thing, then you got a problem. That's what Virgo's really reacting against, is the overblown being on the stage, you see. And then what else did we see? What did we see here? We saw the Aries stuff in the 8th house. So, All the Aries stuff is in the 8th house. Well, this is another strange home for Virgos. Virgos aren't very comfortable in the 8th house, the Scorpio house of mixed emotions, of mixing resources. You see, I've written this article many years ago. When we get in trouble, we always run to mama. No, we run to our sun sign. When Capricorn's in trouble, they run to try to work harder what they're doing, make better sure what they're doing. When you Libras get in trouble, what do? You run to making balance. You run to making things smooth. Is everybody happy? Let's smooth it all out. No rough edges. Sagittarius, what do? You run to have more fun. Blow off the lid. Wahoo, let's go. Well, in Virgo's case, it doesn't work. You can't take another piece of sandpaper and make your life better. The damn furniture is perfect as it is. Leave it alone. You can't keep, all of the sun signs will deceive you. Sure, Sag likes to run away to get away with murder. Very dangerous sign. They're not known for it, but you'll hear it on this show because I've seen it. Why do you think this president, what do you think he's doing with his moon in Sag? The used car salesman. Anyhow, so the Virgos have to eventually figure out this very weird thing called emotions. The Virgos have to come to terms with the fact that they like some, they don't like some. They love some, they hate something. They have fear, they have these different feelings. They have to come to terms with these human feelings, and you cannot operate these feelings from a repair manual. That's the tough part about being Virgo. And that's why if they become more successful at the 5th house expressing themselves, then they won't be as judgmental when they see someone else express themselves. Yeah, you see? It's all perfect circle. That's why it's called exquisite. No matter how you turn it, it keeps working. That's why I thought for a long time what the title of this book. And I just couldn't get past the word exquisite because it is. It's just exquisite. You keep turning it and it all keeps working. Let's go to Libra now. All right. I'm trying to, now remember, write down your questions for later and we can go over any question you have of any sign that I talked about with you. Okay. Here we go. To the sign of Libra. Okay, let me stop this and put it back on the screen. Here's your Libra. Look how this wheel keeps turning. Big wheel keeps on turning. No, I won't. I'll spare you from me singing. Okay, look at the heavyweights all moved into the 4th house. Thou shalt have emotions. Thou shalt deal with your emotions. Thou shalt not get away with nice social talk. It ain't going to work, Libras. You're going to have to deal with your feelings. And when you got Pluto rising, Miss Jordan, you can deal with it because you are born with it. Not all Libras are. Look at the Aries stuff in the 7th house. So, the Libras do fine with all these planets in the 7th. Socializing. Libras are always got the social wheels going in their mind. They're very socially magnificent. They're the ones that keep the social growth going. They're socially conscious. Whether it's John Lennon, whether it's Timothy Leary, whether it's the Queen or the Prime Minister of England. There are so many Librans that are just so socially aware. Well, the 4th house stuff in Capricorn, you're not going to just whistle past the graveyard. You just can't do it. The 4th house, and this has been on you since '08. It's been longer than that, actually. I did a preview of Pluto going into Capricorn, and I remember talking with Libras in '08, 11 years ago. When the fourth house is being energized, it means you've got to get your emotional basis strong. And it means you've got to get your emotional basis strong by yourself. You can't do it with your partner. You can't do it with your family. You got to get your fourth house straight. That's why Librans who are leading superficial lives where everything looks pretty and they got a pretty driveway with a nice porch outside and got a beautiful wife, that's why it's not going to get it. It's not going to get it. Because even if it's okay with the neighbors, it ain't okay with you. You wouldn't believe how many Libras I talk to, and it's understandable. They have a sense, if I can get everything on the checklist okay with all my neighbors, I'll be okay. And it really is not true. It's really dangerous, but the pressure is so strong on Libras to be socially accepted that it lies to them, just like all the other signs do. So what this is saying is, if you don't like something, you need to speak up. You need to risk your social status and speak up when something rubs you the wrong way in your own heart. Make sense, Miss Jordan? Make sense, Linda?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really interesting that you say that it has to be the individual Libra themselves, not like Libra plus a partner, Libra plus mommy, Libra plus this or that.
Libra runs to their partner. That's great.
I mean, one of the things I feel good about is I'm done with that. I'm so happy about that.
Well, see, you have Pluto rising, and so even though it's tough, you've got the seeds of the sign beyond you to feed you with that. In other words, you haven't played this game much like some Libras have. Some Libras are destitute. They're just despondent if the relationship goes bad because all their cards are in one place. And that's why you've handled the Pluto very well. And what you really need to do is balance. Balance the Scorpio with the Libra. Balance the Libra with the Scorpio. And then things work out fine. And Libra's a winning sign. They're just, boy, they're a tough sign to bring down. They're just really, they're tenacious mentally. They're tenacious socially. They always end up in really good situations. But they can be living through some very difficult emotions if they ignore that fourth house. Let's move on. Moving on to Scorpio. Okay, let's see what in the world's going on with Scorpio. Okay, I'll turn your, yeah, I'll get you muted now. All right, there we go. Look at the Scorpios. Everything's going on in the third house, which I like. Everything's being renewed in the seventh house. And we got a lot of Aries going on in the sixth house. What does this mean? I am a Scorpio and I'm putting all of my energy for a long time in changing the way this computer works. Get that computer staff in here. I don't care what they're doing. Get them in here. We're pulling these chips out. Get rid of that. Put some new ones in there. Put some new ones in there. Fix that. Shine that up. Blow the dust out. Blow the air out. Blow the dust out. Get that computer working better. Well, Scorpios don't have any problem with that. They're a very intensely mental sign. They don't have a problem with that. Look at this. Let's get that sixth house activated. Rum, 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 rum. Let's get going. Let's get with Aries here and with Chiron, a brand new look at what's possible for Scorpio's work skills. Completely brand new. Completely new, and you better believe it, it's going to have to do with healing, and it's going to have to do with the feminine. Mix the words up. All you want. Healing, feminine, brand new leadership. Let's go. But there's nowhere you can go to get somebody to okay it. And if somebody okays it, you better run the other way. This has got to come from you. When it's coming out of Aries, it's got to come from your spark. And your spark really is, you might say, God has different leaves out there. You're a Sag leaf, I'm a Capricorn leaf, one's a Gemini leaf. And God's demanding now you be your Scorpio's leaf. And Scorpios take themselves for granted because they're very powerful, pure beings. Or they just hate themselves so much they rip the hell out of themselves. One of the two. So I think things look very good for Scorpio. Get with your new program, get with your new job skills, get with sixth house, get with all your new ideas about preventive medicine, all these new essential oils you want to do in different kinds of yoga you want to do with different kinds of seminars you want to go to them. The seventh house is being activated by Uranus, which means you're ready to start to socialize again. Doesn't mean you have to get remarried or marry somebody, but you're ready to socialize again. Socialize means I express myself and I test it upon the wall of you, other, me, other, throwing a tennis ball against the wall and the ball bounces back. And then when it comes back, it's different than what it was up there. So things are very good for Scorpio. And the power behind Scorpio is going to allow you to do this is all the new generation of heavy Capricorn power in the third house. It's the new software. You're throwing the old software out. You don't have to do all this tomorrow. Generate a new mind, a new way of thinking. Generate new work skills, doing the kind of stuff you want to do. Here's the really neat thing I did today. And socialize. I took a client today who has been with me a long time, a beautiful woman. And I stole a line from Nick. As you know, on this show, we push forward. Nick Arandes has been a host with us and a wonderful writer of A Course in Miracles. And Nick, his new book, if you haven't read his new book, it's just unbelievable. His first one was What Happens When You Let Go and Let God. This was What Happened When You Let Go and Let God, past tense. And he doesn't mess around, this book. He's really streamlined it. And Nick says real clearly, is your source someone else's wallet or is your source God? I asked this woman who happens to be married to a banker. She said, my source is someone else's wallet. I said, you're telling me your source of air and the next breath that you breathe, next drink of water that you drink is coming out of somebody's wallet and it's not coming from God? And then she says, oh, you're right. It's not the next dollar. It's my relationship with God, my own integration. I talked to a woman yesterday. Long story short, somebody in the family, it was a man I was talking to, he was a healer. Guy was dying of cancer. He said, to hell with the cancer. I'm going to write more songs. I'm going to go to more bars. I'm going to sing more songs. I'm going to start recording more. And he went out and he just blew it out. Next thing you know, his cancer was gone. So it's got to do with the life energy coming through you. I don't have to tell you anything. It's not a surprise to you. So if you think, and you're sitting there praying at the altar of somebody else's wallet, good luck. So I think things look really good for Scorpio. I really like it. I think it's very favorable. Hello, Waldo. Nice to see you sneak upon us from the Mexico place. Let's see what else we have now. All right, he's getting here just in time, isn't he? He knew how to time it when we just get to Sagittarius, didn't he? Okay, Waldo, we go to Sag. Look at this zodiac now. Now, because Sag is in the first house, all the Capricorn stuff's in the second house. So the Aries stuff goes to the fifth house, which they have no problem with. and the Uranus falls into the 6th. So there's really not much problem here at all. What is it saying? With all this, see, I started to think last night how I'm going to do this show. And I started to say to myself, I have no idea. And I said, good. And I pushed myself off the limb. I just did. Then I told Liza, I'm going to hold my throat and go, and you could do the show. And she ran, ah! I said, you do better than you think you would. Okay, Waldo, what's this mean? I know you're very good at this stuff. What does this mean with all this powerful stuff going on in your second house? All this war, I mean, I'm telling all you folks, the wars are coming, and I didn't tell you this, and I gotta come back and remind you before I forget to do this. Let me get this back on here. For all of you, Pluto's going to get to 26, and that's where it started with the USA. That's where it was in 1776. It's gone all the way around since we were born as a nation. And when it gets to 26, which is 1.5 degrees later, then remember this chart is for next spring. The Pluto is going to return, and the Pluto-Saturn's going to be together. So we all got real heavy stuff coming in Pluto in Capricorn. Did you notice how CEOs are being tossed out? Big companies are being fined billions. I mean, the stuff is flying. It's flying, and the women ain't going back down. They're not going back down. Hello? Thank you. So, Waldo, Sagittarius. The second house is not a normal house for Sagittarius because it's a very planted house. It's the Taurus house. And Sag is anything but planted. Sag is the opposite. Fireworks. Okay, so what does this mean? What this means is, and I really think the books are wrong. I really do. And I think they got Saturn wrong. And I think they got Capricorn wrong. I don't think those are negative energies. The second house is about your sense of self-worth. It's about the things that you value. It's about your money. It's about the things that you are on your list of priorities. But do you value yourself? Do you have a sense of good self-worth? And I can guarantee you, Mr. Waldo, because I know you can talk about any subject in the world, but I can guarantee you, you've been through World War V, VI, VII, and VIII in terms of self-worth the past couple of years, and you're right in the midst of it. And with that smile on your face, and with the pictures I see with you and your husband, you look very happy and like you're coming out of it nicely. It's a wonderful thing to see. But the really good thing about it is you're not skipping it. And that's what Sagittarius can do. They can easily push it aside. It's nothing. You know, let it roll off my back. You're not doing that. You're facing it. You're dealing with it. So I really think that's the whole key with Sagittarius now, is diving in and really securing a strong sense of self that comes from me. Doesn't come from what my mom thought. Doesn't come from what my country thought. It comes from me. And I think that's the whole key with Sag. If you can do that, hello. Now, I hate to do this to myself, but we're going to go to Capricorn. Oh, God. Oh, boy. I know what sign I'm not going to be in my next lifetime. I know what sign. It ain't going to be this one. Okay, look where we get all this stuff. First house. Woo! Well, pile it on. Bring more wood to the fire. I mean, we've always got big beams on our shoulders. Okay, Aries is in the 4th. Okay. Kitty cat. Uranus is in the 5th. So, with all these stuff, here's the story about Capricorn. Man, I would give my left leg to watch a show like this when I was a beginning astrologer 41 years ago. I had to learn all this by reading little paragraphs. The secret to Capricorn is this. Capricorns are very good at cheating. They don't mean to cheat, but they're real good at cheating. Like I've always told you, the one you don't want to play paintball with is another Capricorn, because they know how to hide behind the rocks. They know how when to come out, when to hide. They know how to use the solid structures around themselves to manipulate so that they're safe and no damn paintball's going to hit me. Well, what happens with Capricorns? They become so good at using the system that they get far away from their natural instinct as a self, which is recovered in the next sign of Aquarius. So that's the problem with Capricorn. Capricorn gives the right answers. I filled out the right form. I got the 2.1 children. What's the problem? How come I'm not winning? Well, when the zodiac gets done inspecting you from all angles in the prism, you can't fake out the zodiac. Like I wrote yesterday on Facebook, you can't sue the planet Pluto. Trump's trying to sue Pluto. Pluto's going to dismantle his Saturn, and what that's going to do is going to start one by one removing his support systems. And nothing he can do about it, and you can't sue it. So what Capricorns do, I was talking to one today, and I was waiting to hear the words, and there the words were, make sure, make sure, make sure, make sure, make sure, make sure. Capricorns are doing one thing, and they are always making sure. But you cannot make sure you're going to evolve. You cannot make sure you're going to do the right thing with the paddle when you're in the raft. You can't make sure. You just got to get in the boat and have some fun and trust your skills. So the problem with making sure is that you start to not trust. That's the problem with Capricorn. You stop trusting your natural instincts. You're the 10th sign out of 12. You've learned an awful lot of lessons. But Capricorn cons you into believing that if you know what my dad used to say. He's from the old country. He's Capricorn. Anything you asked him, he would say, how are you supposed to do it? I wrote that in the book. How are you supposed to do that? What do you want? How are you supposed to? What do you want to do here? How are you supposed to do it? And God love him. I mean, what would you like to do? Well, it's a totally new concept. And you can't let that happen. You can't let that happen. You can't let the self get that rustified. You can't do it. Because the zodiac always comes back to how well are you doing as an individual. Which is why Aquarius comes out of Capricorn and goes, right? And it recovers that sense of individuality. So that's the trouble with Capricorn, with all the first house. Yeah, you're working hard. Yeah, you're trying hard. Yeah, you're making sure. Yeah, everybody in the business gives all the jobs to you because they know you'll get it done right. They know you will make sure. Okay, but you're not here to please them. That's the story with Capricorn. So, you've got to be honest with yourself enough to give that up. What is it? David Hawkins talks about. He's dead. He's dead now. He wrote a lot of books, starting with Power versus Force. He says the problem with Buddhism is not your attachment. The problem is, what juice are you getting from that attachment? What are you getting from it? Not your attachment. Give up your attachment, you'll be blissed out. What juice are you getting from it? What juice do you get when everybody sees that you're the victim? What good stuff do you get out when everybody sees you're the hard worker? Oh, we just sit there drinking that nectar. And what Capricorn is getting is a sense of doing it right. They're not doing it wrong. They're with the right club, and they're sure everything's going to work out okay. Well, it's not. What works out okay is what Helen Keller said. Get your butt in the boat and start going downstream. Woo! When you're in that flow, that's what works. Maybe I'm talking to myself because I is one. Let's move on to our finality here. Aquarius. Aquarius. Please don't sing, Rick. Okay. Aquarius. When the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars. Okay, you got heavy duty planets in the 12th house. Ooh, look at that stuff. Heavy duty past life stuff, all being stirred up in the ashram, in the meditation, in the hot steam springs, bringing up all this old stuff, dealing with it. And I'm dealing with Aquarians everywhere that are doing this. They're going to ayahuasca ceremonies. They're going to all these ceremonies. They'll go anywhere and do anything. They are ballsy sign. Aquarius. When your 12th house stuff is stirred up, it means that you got to get the saw on those handcuffs. You got to get to those ankle bracelets out that are iron and are holding you back from your past karma. You got to get free of that stuff. You got to get free of that stuff. And the way you get free of it is you get past life regressions, you do hypnosis, you do meditation, you do whatever it takes. Your own method, you'll be led to it. And you got to look at it, you know yourself, what Jung told us. What we look at and inspect, we'll get free of. What we ignore, we'll just keep resurfacing and dominating us. So getting out that old stuff, getting it up and out, purging it. Purging is what Aquarius is going through. They have to purge this old stuff. Now, there's no sign in Zodiac that's freer or that doesn't care what other people think more than them. So they've got a real leg up on everybody else. But one of the things Aquarians need to hear, Aquarians can get very cocky. And they can rely on just their own thinking. And that's where they go wrong. Because they're very self-assured mentally, but still, they should still be open to input from other people. I think that's really a good idea with Aquarians. Let's wrap it up with Pisces, and then we'll take questions. The final sign of the fishies. Okay. We have all this Capricorn stuff up in the 11th house. All the Aries stuff is in the 2nd house. Boy, this is very weird for you, Pisces. Uranus is down in the 3rd. All the Capricorn stuff is all about going forward. And this house is really the house of hopes and wishes. It's your friends, it's institutions, but it's going forward and really going after the things that are big dreams in your life, going after them. Well, what Capricorn planets indicate is a long, powerful, straight path. And a Pisces wouldn't know what a straight path was if they were born inside a ruler. They don't know what a straight path is. Everything about Pisces is woo. So what this means for Pisces is it's very easy to get into this. I'm laid back, I'm cool, I'm just going to go with the flow and see where it takes me. That won't work. It will work in a lot of ways. Yes, it's their central spine, if you will. Yes, but when your 11th house is packed like that, the 11th house means you need to be tried and true to your lineage. Deep inside of us, I know we've all enjoyed our meetings with Stephen Poplin and his talks about And Mike Weir talks about past lives and regression and all that. And they write books about this stuff. It's very difficult stuff. Deep inside of us, there's a lineage. Deep inside of us, there's a part of us that's connected to the collective. Try to say that. Connected to the collective that you can't change. You can't understand it. You can't compute it. But we're connected to the collective for some reason. And it's because somebody with a bigger mind than us is smarter has us lined up that way. So when their 11th house is packed like the Pisces have, they can't just poop out on things. I mean, there's no sign it's a bigger quitter in the zodiac. In general, there's no sign it poops out and just changes course for no reason, mumbles to themselves. No sign it mumbles to themselves more than Pisces. And you know I've got them on the top of my list. They're one of my favorite signs because of their sense of selflessness. But even so, if you were to interview Mother Teresa or Teresa of Avila, who were both Virgos, they both had tremendous amount of Pisces, they were dedicated to their path. You can't, this is one place the Pisces, oh, I just go with it, man. It doesn't work. So you see in all 12 cases tonight, all 12 signs will lie to you. All 12 signs will say, I got the answer. If you listen to me, you won't have any problem. And they're all wrong. They're all wrong. So Pisces people, do your floating, do your meditating, do your yoga, do your purifying, but don't treat everything as if it's non-existent or non-material or non-substantial. Pisces can get lost in that simple statement. Nothing matters. Boy, is that dangerous. Because in reality, like the Buddha says, nothing does matter. But at the same time, everything matters. You see? It's that cone stuff. That cone stuff out of India. Who has questions? I'm tired. Who has questions? Raise your hand. Yeah, Miss Linda.
I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What happens to people who don't deal with the challenges that this particular group
time
plan?
period? Right. Well, Trump is a really good example. The reason I picked the 24th of yesterday, I picked it 6 months ago, the reason I knew it was going to be a big deal was Pluto was hitting his Saturn-Venus. A person with Saturn-Venus, what's the problem with Saturn-Venus? The problem is your Venus wants to love, it wants to open the door, let people in and open your heart. Well, Saturn's sitting next to Venus and says, well, I want to make sure. Let's stop and investigate. Let's do a background check on these people while we're doing it. Well, you can't open your heart and do that at the same time. Sound familiar? Well, when Pluto's been hitting his Venus-Saturn for years now. It's been hitting it for years. And it's been telling him at the subconscious level, you're going to die unless you open your heart. Because if you don't open your heart, you can't breathe. You can't absorb any of God's source. You can't have any input. You're going to die on the vine. So we see years go by and years go by and years go by, and he's not listening. He's not in touch with it. What is he doing? He's faking out these people, borrowing more money, going on this show, going on this, becoming more and more and more and more phony and lying 30 times a day. So eventually, Pluto caught up with him, which was yesterday. Pluto stopped exactly opposite as Saturn. And it's now going to start dismantling him. Why? It's not because Pluto is mean, because his own Pluto knows that he has to go. Even though he's not dignified enough to say, for the best of the country, I'll step down. The ego's still more powerful. It still keeps pushing. The Pluto part inside is agreeing to being dismantled. That's what happens. Wow. That's why I've been calling you on the phone. Said I want to do this show with you about death wishes. That's where it comes from. Well, you can't win, you can't win, you can't win, you can't win. Well, what the hell would it then? Let me lose. You know, nobody wants bruised up that bad. If everything you try won't work, that's where the death wishes come from. And unfortunately, they come through us subconsciously. And that is what's calling. That's what he's calling. That's what he decided yesterday at unconscious level. That's what he decided to call off his support. That's what happened. Go ahead, Elke.
The Deutsche Bank is in the house of cards is coming undone. It's unraveling.
Yes, the support system where he's getting the money.
That's right.
But it's not the bank. It's he's
no. Yeah, we get it.
Calling it forth because he just can't. Number one, he's an avatar. He came to be the ugly American. He came to be the example of how this social system that we have just doesn't work. That's why it was yesterday. Now, the other dates I gave you, and I gave you 6 dates, the other dates are when other planets are going to hit the same point. You're going to see more dismantling. But what's happening is when a planet hits you, Linda, it's a part of you that comes through and it's a shoot that wants to come out and shine. And if it doesn't come out and shine for whatever reason, you have a plant that has a warped part of it or a stunted part of it. Now, it may not interrupt the overall beauty, but it may. I hope that answers your question. Let me put your microphone back on. Go ahead.
I guess I've been noticing that, I don't know how else to say it, but I think people are kind of taking themselves off the board, so to speak. It's not that they're physically dying, it's that they're quitting things.
The reason that is because of churches. Churches have deceived us en masse to the point where Notre Dame's on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Churches have taken us away from this. The truth is in me. God is in me. They've taken us to pay the money. The truth is up at the altar. It ain't me. It's up at the altar. It can't be me. I'm guilty. The guy at the altar needs the money. He's the strong one. The Pope said this. Okay. The churches have screwed us, and we've been too weak. We've been too weak mentally. We've lived with this junk. But now that's changing too. That's going on just as strong as the women's movement. Look what's happening to the Boy Scouts, down the drain. Look what's happening to all the pedophiles in the different religions, down the drain. And they got to go. The problem is so much is happening at once. That's because of the Eris square with Pluto, both at one time. And it is a very mathematically peculiar, unusual time. It is scary, and we may not survive it. Luckily, for me, in the past few weeks, I have become convinced that they're out there helping us. I don't know how I know it, but that's made me breathe a little better. I'm convinced that somebody's happening, someone's helping us, they're watching us, and it ain't no damn coincidence that in the middle of all this, up pops Eris. And there are 3 more coming. They're already here, but we haven't got them in our brain yet. At least 3 more. So, other questions about what I talked about tonight? Yeah, Marcia, let me get you unmuted. Go ahead there.
This occurred to me. I haven't been here in a while, sadly, but I'm glad I'm back. I had a lot going on, but the exquisite zodiac, and which you beautifully talk about, and talking about all the 12 signs tonight, I feel like each sign has to have an opening of their heart. And through the zodiac and through the diamond, that they can look through and see each other and feel each other. And that the prism is part of the opening that will help, that each sign hopefully will be a brother or sister to the other sign.
Well, the beauty of what you're saying is that once we get past all this very heavy Capricorn stuff, awaits the sign of Aquarius.
Right.
I know John talks a lot about it, and Waldo talks a lot about it, Elke talks a lot about it. It's there, but we got a lot of stuff to get through before we get to Aquarius. And we have, how do I say this to you? The success that we will have in the sign of Aquarius is totally dependent upon the restructuring that we do while we're in Capricorn. Because in Aquarius, it's reaching out and this is my brother. Don't tell me what color he is. This is my brother. This is my sister. We are together as one planet. Let's save it. Beautiful thoughts, beautiful energy. But we got to get past the crap first. The old structures have to fall. You all had tarot readings, and that tower card shows up. Well, this is like 9 tarot cards at once. Tower cards, I'm sorry. Tower cards at once. It's all collapsing. And the problem is people are looking for somebody to blame. And the more we blame, the more we're all going to really hurt ourselves. And the more we do the opposite and say, forget the blame, let's work together. Here we are. Let's be real happy that we're in the midst of this. Let's lift each other up and move on, which is what, Linda, or someone to rescue us. Bye-bye. Ain't nobody coming to rescue us. Trump loves coal. Trump loves coal. Talking to all my friends in West Virginia. By God, he loves coal. He doesn't care about your coal. He wants your vote. Anyhow, other questions? Thank you, Marcia.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I got time for one more. Come on, I can see the wheels turning in the back of Waldo's head. Come on, Waldo. What's going on back there? I say, man, they're in there spinning more around. Your mic's not working.
No?
No, it's real. I can barely hear you.
Now?
It's better.
Okay. I just wanted you to want to know what you think about if U.S. is a cancer country, like many other countries that choose cancer birthdays. If it has any reason why now Capricorn, the polarity, Cancer and Capricorn, which does that mean that the Cancerian country needs to accept this energy of Capricorn and use it to change what is being.
Excellent question. Now it's more important. It's not so important now that it's Capricorn energy. What's happening now is the Cancer is getting the opposite energy.
Right.
7th house. I've been screaming this for 15 years. The 7th house is screaming at us. What does that mean? What have I been saying since day number 1 on this show? We have to start treating other countries differently. If we don't, they're going to go, yeah. And they will, and we think, oh, you can't hurt us. We're America. We're America. Well, it can hurt us, and they don't want to trade with us. And Australia's changing the English as not their primary language in their different meetings. And all kind of people are changing their monetary units to not be the dollar anymore. It's happening. So it's all about the Cancer myth. If I stay at home and I put my little kids in cages and don't look at them, and the hell with what the Statue of Liberty says, and if I'd stay home and just board myself in, I'll be all right. And it's not true, is it? Especially talking to a Sag. Hell no, it won't work. That's where the Cancer is dangerous, because you have to open up to the other. The self can only
I
be...
believe the Cancer energy is what is needed. I mean,
Yes.
more compassion, more.
Well, yeah, and that's it. Yes.
Take care of the other people, but you have to stand as a Capricorn. You cannot stand as a Cancer. You have to.
I think that makes sense, also. Yes.
With the Capricorn structure.
Yeah.
So don't depend so much of the government doing that stuff. I think that's what Aquarius, if Capricorn administer the resources, and then Aquarius can do the job to give to the people.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Exactly. But we're a Cancer country, and it's not easy, kind of changes that are called upon now. Thank you very much. Let's finish with what Elke has. Thank you, Waldo. Go ahead, Elke.
Yeah, I just have a quick comment, because I was in this webinar the other day, and there's a guy who was specializing advising leaders of corporations and all kinds of, and he says they're coming to him. He was an astrologer coming to him, and they're all like, what to do, because the Capricorn energy is affecting them. And he said, you have to switch into caring mode. You can still make money, but you have to care about the people. So I went on this trip to Ottawa, and this is exactly what I said. With the health care system, we have to go back to care. They've been ignoring the care. They've been doing the Capricorn thing, raking in lots and lots and lots of money. You can still make money, but
that will not suffice when you try to stuff all those dollar bills in your casket. It won't work. You're exactly right. And I went to someone here today and said, my doctor could care if I open one eye or the other one. I want some doctor that's listening to me. And I'm looking to market a certain type of doctor that I want somebody that's going to listen to my story. I don't care if he's busy. My story is important. You're exactly right, and it's happening everywhere. It's happening in business. People are reacting against these bottom line thinkers. The bottom line won't work. You're exactly right. That's exactly what has to happen. And that really follows up with what Waldo was saying, how we have to absorb the beautiful part of Cancer, which is the caring for each other and the real nourishing. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. Well, I think we had a kind of wonderful time here. Sarah, I'm not sure what you thought, but rub two thoughts together. Let me know what you think. I thought it was really good, and it's a good blank canvas for people of different signs, knowing what's going on in the next couple of years. Because how many of you felt that it hits you in terms of what you see with your challenges? Okay. How many of you felt that the people around you, what I said for their sign made sense? Okay. See, that's why the I don't know what happened to me, but early on in astrology, I learned not to go with all this complex stuff of this planet's the ruler of this house, and it rules this decan, which is the ruler of this thing. I just kept doing things in the whole house sign. If you are here, these planets are over here, and it's just really true. I remember giving a speech on this in 1980. And other astrologers would say, boy, that's awful simple. And I just had a feeling that intuitively it's not as hard as we think. So as you can see, we're all very unique with our sun sign. We're all being lied to by our sun sign. We're all being saved by our sun sign. And we all need a lot besides the sun sign. So all I got to say is, that's enough. I'll see you next week. Thank you, YouTubers. Thank you, YouTubers, for joining us. We'll see you next week, Thursdays at 8. Bye-bye.